It's been a couple of weeks since I planted the tomatoes and they're doing really well. You can see they've about doubled in size. The other thing you'll notice is that I removed my tomato cages just for a little while because while they're still small, I want to do some pruning around their bases. And I think that first couple of weeks is really the critical time in a tomato plant's life. You'll be able to tell in that period whether the plant is going to struggle or if it's going to be a healthy plant. And my suggestion is if after 2 weeks the plant is really limp and lifeless looking, just dig it up and plant a new one. It's really not worth the trouble to try to get it back to health, and even if you do get it perked back up, it's probably not going to produce really good fruits. Most of these plants are starting to get blooms on them, which is a good sign. I prune these young plants pretty aggressively. First, I look for any branches like this one that are touching the ground. Through the entire life of the tomato plant, I don't like to have any of the leaves touching the ground, so I'm just gonna bend these back and snap them off. Leaves touching the ground can cause mildew and other problems. I really want to focus all of the nutrients up this one stem and into the branches. And I think I'll break this one off too. It can feel a little intimidating, like you're destroying your plants by removing so much of them, but really you're making the plant a lot stronger. These little shoots that grow in between a fork like this are called suckers, and it's always good to remove those. You can remove those throughout the entire life of the plant. They don't produce fruit, but they take away vital nutrients that the rest of the plant could use. And here you can see a good branch with 3 blooms on it that'll become tomatoes. And down here is a sucker I can remove. And another one. It's really all about establishing that strong central stem that all of the lateral branches can grow off of when the plant starts to get bigger. You'll know your plant isn't as strong as it could be if it's falling over or requires you to tie it to a stake to keep it upright. And at this point, I'm only watering them about once every 4 days or so. But I water them really deeply, make sure the water gets way down to the roots. And thanks for watching this episode of Home and Garden for Mere Mortals and following the tomato saga. If you have any tips or experience you'd like to share on pruning or getting these young tomato plants off to a good start, please leave a comment down below. I'm pretty convinced that you cannot buy a decent tasting tomato. There's nothing that beats a homegrown tomato. I've had years of good tomato yields and I've had years of not so good yields, and I really think most of it comes down to soil preparation.